Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
On this episode of Audiobook Club, as the band Pulp released their first new music in 25 years, we joined frontman Jarvis Cocker for a rummage around his attic.
Good Pop, Bad Pop. An inventory by Jarvis Cocker. As read by me, Jarvis Cocker. Chapter 1. There was a house I lived in for a while. I stored a lot of stuff in the loft of this house. When I say stored a lot of stuff, that's really a polite way of saying used it as a skip.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.
Hello and welcome to Audiobook Club, the podcast about audiobooks that is most definitely sorted out for ease and whiz. Thank you very much. And of course, what other line could we have had in the script there? Matthew Layton, welcome to the podcast.
I did both things there, Steve. I did both copy and paste.
You did. You did, absolutely. By the way, can I put a screeching halt to the podcast in the early seconds and quickly dragging Conclave from our last episode? I think we did a massive disservice to Conclave. Yeah. So before we swing into Jarvis Cocker's attic, let's swing into the Pope's Basilica.
Okay. I said at the time, didn't I, that I thought it was like the Da Vinci Code, but without the fun. Yeah.
But because I hadn't finished the book, and as I finished the book and the denouement of who the Pope was going to be from this conclave, what a finish! What a finish! That was brilliant. I loved Conclave, and everyone should go and read it. There we go.
Okay. I have to confess that actually...
appropriately.
Having... Indeed.
When was your last one?
Thursday. I have to confess that I found myself wanting to get to the finish and find out what the finish was. I predicted who would win, as I think everybody did, but I didn't predict the twist.
I love you. This is the first time I've heard, actually, and I was glued to the conclave, as a lot of us were. No one ever talks about who won. Who won the conclave?
Who won?
Like it's the lottery or the footy.
Who was the runner-up? That's the important one.
They should announce it in a sense, like get a bit Britain's Got Talent about it, in ascending, descending, reverse order, and then the music. And let's face it. That place, the Vatican, is not short of a dramatic tune or two. We could have had some light organ music going on in the background, and then a flourish at the end as we go da 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 da. Robert Prevost, ladies and gentlemen.
Chicago's finest.
Indeed, there we go. So congratulations to Pope Leo. From all or both of us here at Audiobook Club for whatever that's worth. And yes, definitely. Just as an addendum to our last episode where we didn't give Conclave the most glowing of reviews, go and read it. It's brilliant.
Yes,
there we go. Right.
Pope Leo, quickly, muzzle tough.
Yes. I've just got to rummage around in my...
You're having a rummage now.
I'm looking for the spanner to turn your sensitivity nut to decorum.
You're turning my nuts. There'll be a little tiny one.
Certainly am. Right, okay, so we pivot now to this week's book. We are casting an ear over Good Pop, Bad Pop. I love what you put in the script here. You just put good cop, bad cop. Fair enough.
Did I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Words, but Good Pop, Bad Pop. And I did love that introduction, by the way, where Jarvis does say, by Jarvis Cocker.
Yeah.
By me, Jarvis Cocker. Love it.
It sums up the whole tone of the book and indeed his career, I think. The way he refers to himself within the context of a formal structure with a little bit of a wink. I think
he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, which I think
there's a knowing wink, isn't it? It's like we've all been here. We've all been here rummaging through our attic in the quiet moments.
Now,
Steve,
you mentioned the script where I've done some muzz prompting. I wanted to ask you, first of all, let's set this out properly. Who are Pulp and what do you think of them, Steve?
So if you've so Pulp growing up, well, certainly the 90s were my 60s, I guess, and Pulp were really at the forefront of those. It was you know what, the 90s just seemed like a really nice time when you look at the age we're living in now, and when I think about the younger generation growing up and what they're having to kind of live with and how it's affecting them. The 90s was obviously it had its bad points. Of course, looking back now, you wouldn't get away with a lot of the stuff that was going on there, and quite rightly. However, in terms of music, Britpop was just fantastic. Original guitar songs, original bands, amazing lyrics. It really did speak to the generation, and really Pulp were at the forefront of that, and very good of them, I thought, to start back in 1978 to kind of reach that peak in the 90s. They were right there. Common People was absolutely seminal. The video to Common People, I'll never forget watching that on the ITV chart show, and then suddenly Jarvis Cocker pops up in this shopping trolley. It was just brilliant. It was so Pulp were there right throughout the 90s and also beyond.
Oh, hold on. You mentioned Common People, the song. This, of course, is the second time that not only Jarvis, but the song Common People have featured on this podcast. Can you remember the first time? To coin a phrase.
Very nice.
That was an accident.
Different class back then.
Yay.
Now, do we talk about William Shatner?
We do, yes. Yeah, you called it exactly. It turns out, contrary to what I thought, you are actually listening while we're making this podcast too. So here's Ben Folds from, I think it was something like our fourth or fifth podcast. I met him in a lobby of a hotel in Adelaide, and here he is, bigging up Mr. Cocker.
The word that jumped out at me from that part of it is also a word that I've heard you use in what is undoubtedly my favourite cover version of all time ever.
Bitch?
No, Tourist.
Tourist, right.
Yeah.
So I only really understood Pulp's Common People when I heard the Shatner version and heard the words independent of it.
Right.
Seems to me, am I putting too much meaning on a song that reflects your upbringing, or is that just a happy coincidence?
Oh, no. I think that song is just probably the most incisive pop song about that particular class divide. Pulp's Common People. Absolutely. Jarvis absolutely nailed it. I think it's his best song. It's just a beautiful song because the tourism part is the wonderful part of it. I mean, that's and it's a good way. And I took it.
So that's basically Ben Folds saying, I grew up in a working class environment. I hate class tourism too.
And it's true of the lyrics that they sung about. It really did speak to you. It was very much a reflection of real life and attitudes, and don't get too full of yourself, basically. And their new single that was out recently, Spike Island, was another. It's really a real renaissance for them, I think, over the summer to come, and looking forward to their album.
Hold on, going back to Common People for a second, and also, and it comes up about Jarvis's taste, influences, and aesthetics have become a lot clearer, and they're laid out a lot clearer in this book than you would necessarily get from just listening to them in the background on the radio. There's always more to it. In fact, do you know what Spike Island's about?
Yes, it's about a Stone Roses gig on Spike Island.
Right. Okay. So you see, I knew it was something cooler than I am, but I didn't know what it was. There's a bit.
He didn't go.
Didn't he?
Cocker never went to the gig. No, but he I think he got stories. I think he got a story of basically as a DJ there. It's a sequel to Sorted for Ease and Whiz, this new single, Spike Island, because it was to do with people who kept repeating a phrase over and over again, and it stuck in Jarvis Cocker's head, basically. Sorted for Ease and Whiz, this guy kept sort of, I don't know if it might have been the same, I think it was at the same gig, kept asking everyone if they were sorted for Ease and Whiz over and over and over again. And Spike Island comes from the hapless DJ who's trying to get the crowd going by going, Spike Island, come alive, Spike Island, come alive. And that stuck in Jarvis Cocker's head. So that it went in the song. So that's one of the lyrics. It's like, Spike Island, come alive again. I think it was that anyway. Yeah, so that's where it comes from.
You're a huge Pulp fan. In fact, you mentioned that when we were talking about the stuff we've listened to on the BBC in the last week, you made the point that you had listened to BBC Six Music specifically to catch the new song and an interview, didn't you? So you're quite a big fan, and you're into them, aren't you?
Well, I'm into them, but I wouldn't say I'm a close fan. I think what it does is it's part of my total malaise in being, very misty-eyed about the past now, and thinking how much nicer it was. So, if it had been Blur making a comeback and they launched a smash single, I might be all about that, or Suede, or I don't know, Sleeper, or something.
I just realised, I've met Louise from Sleeper twice.
One of our friends actually does a podcast, and I think starring Louise Wenner from Sleeper,
top poker player as well as rock star and novelist.
It's called The Crisis Right, where she interviews people about how they're dealing with a midlife crisis when they were like big in the 90s.
I would love to hear that. So I met her twice. I met her after a gig she did in Hamburg, and I went, "Hi, I'm living here in Hamburg. And I really like what you're doing." And she was really nice. She came out and had drinks with the audience after the show. And she did the same, I think it was about 8 years later in Vancouver. I said, "I remember you. I saw you in Hamburg." And she was very lovely. And at that point,
despite your Tommy Cooper impression.
At that point, I had to go, "Oh, she's really nice and she's also beautiful, but I have to go away now because I'm too drunk."
There you go.
That's very interesting. That's very sorry.
Do you know what? Actually, it's interesting you say that, because I can't meet my heroes. I can't meet anyone famous without coming across, as you probably heard on this podcast, I just come across as all sycophantic and thank you for being in the same orbit as us and deigning to, grace us with your presence. I don't know why, because I've worked in lots of orbits and things, but I have to sort of work with them for 10 years before we speak.
I'll tell you why that is, Steve. It's because you're a lovely human being. Shall we move? Get this. I'm going to do you. I'm going to do your bit now. Shall we move from orbit to Wrigley's Extra?
There you go, you see.
See
how I do that more subtly than you? You just go, "Shut up, Steve, I'm going to say this now." That's basically your shtick. And I go, I think of my segues, do you know what I mean?
Can we just, before we do it, can we just do the class thing again? Because thanks for asking how I feel about Pulp. That's really kind of you, as much as I've just said.
How do you feel about Pulp, then?
Well, do you know what? As a kid who went to a public school, and this was very defiantly a working class point of view, and I sort of felt that it was a party to which I was not invited. And as I say, they were there, they were part of the background, but I have to say that over the years, possibly in the same way as you, I didn't necessarily get it at the time, but they creep up on you, don't they? And it becomes part of the sort of the furniture, it becomes familiar. Same with David Bowie. I've heard so many people rattle on so much about David Bowie, but the first time I heard him when I was 8 years old, it was Let's Dance, and it was a perfectly reasonable pop song. And again, for me, Pulp were part of the time and didn't stand out for me, but over the years, I think I've grown to respect and like them more. And part of that actually was Jarvis's Six Music show, where I started to get what he was on about just by the general subjects that he covered and the way that he spoke. So yes, I like them more now. I think I understand it better.
Yeah, I used to love Jarvis Cocker's Jarvis Cocker's Night Shift, where he sort of explored the world of night shift workers and things. It was really good, and I like his delivery as well. I mean, this book was certainly something you could literally go. It's literally a book at bedtime, because you could quite happily go to sleep listening to it. It was really had that sort of feel about it, where you just be sent off to a really nice sort of cozy place, and then you can just kind of drift off. Anyway, don't drift off just yet, because we've got to do our 3-step process.
There it is.
Where we talk about the author, we talk about the text of the book, and then we discuss the performance or indeed narration of the audiobook, and does the audio version bring anything vastly superior to just buying it off a shelf and reading the thing. So Matthew, the author himself, like we've just been speaking about him for the last 20 minutes anyway.
Yeah, Jarvis Branson Cocker was born on the 19th of September 1963. He is an English, it says on Wikipedia, musician. I'd put that in inverted commas a bit. As the founder, frontman, lyricist, and only consistent member of the band Pulp, he became a reluctant figurehead of the Britpop genre in the mid-1990s. Funnily enough, I've just remembered, do you remember when he did a stage invasion at the Brit Awards with Michael Jackson? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, Michael Jackson was performing Earth Song, and it was all rather over the top. Jarvis had had a couple of whiskies and jumped up on the stage, danced around a bit, and then kind of got a bit lost and was shown gently off.
The audience, yeah.
Did he moon the audience? I'd forgotten that.
I think he did. I think he got his posterior out. Yeah, and Bob Mortimer got him off of the legal thing.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Was Bob Mortimer?
That's the anecdote, I think.
Was Bob Mortimer? The bloke in a pub told you, and it was on the internet. That's two independent sources. It must be true.
Sources,
yeah,
it
must be true.
There you go.
Cocker has also pursued a solo career, and for 7 years he presented the BBC Radio 6 music show Jarvis Cocker's Sunday Service, and he was replaced by Iggy Pop in that slot. So it just shows you the sort of status that he is held in this country.
I love the idea of a Sunday Surface, though. There'd be a big doily on it, wouldn't there? A nice sort of lace tablecloth on a Sunday Surface.
You know what? You're hitting all the marks this week. You're getting everything absolutely right. Doilies, you'd think there might be some doilies somewhere in Jarvis's attic.
Yeah. Oh, there's got to be, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't covered in the book. That's for book 2, clearly.
Well, why don't you... Again, the only reason people tune into this nonsense is the wonderful way in which you read the blurb off of the back of books. Please, Maestro, take it away.
As we know, that's an utter lie. What if the things we kept hidden say more about us than those we put on display? We all have a random collection of the things that made us: photos, tickets, clothes, souvenirs, stuffed in a box, packed in a suitcase, crammed into a drawer. When Jarvis Cocker starts clearing out his loft, he finds a jumble of objects that catalogue his story and ask him some awkward questions. Who do you think you are? Or who do you think you are? Are clothes important? And why are there so many pairs of broken glasses up here? From a Gold Star polycotton shirt to a pack of Wrigley's Extra, from his teenage attempts to write songs to the sexy laughs, fantastic dirty joke book, this is the hard evidence of Jarvis's unique life, pulp, 20th century pop culture, the good times and the mistakes he'd rather forget. And this accumulated debris of a lifetime reveals his creative process, writing and musicianship, performance and ambition, style and stagecraft. This is not a life story, it's a lost story. It is definitely a story. Recorded on location with the author and featuring archival material, Good Pop, Bad Pop is an intimate and immersive listening experience with an icon of British culture. And by the way, his dancing. Now, I've made a reference to this because I saw him on Jonathan Ross doing his new single, Pulp. And the dancing he was doing, he clearly was thinking long term, because, you know, as you get older, you see aging rock stars not being able to move about as once they could and jump about the stage. And so Jarvis Cocker, I'm pretty certain seeing a live gig with him back in the day, was doing these strange arm movements. He'd just stand there and just do these wiggly arm movements, thinking, actually, you know what, I'll be able to do the same again when I'm 60.
Yeah, you know, there's another thing about that, which is, you know, the thing at the time that made him different from the other his contemporaries, the Blurs and Oasis, is who you've mentioned, is, you know, he was known originally as somebody quite weird who once came on stage in a wheelchair. So, you know, doing really odd stuff like that. And I think, again, this book has helped me understand where that's come from and turned on several lights. As you say, or as you read, Jarvis rifles through this attic in his house in the UK, where he hasn't been for a number of years. He goes through all the stuff because he's accrued so much rubbish. And one of the things that runs through the book is he picks up individual items, tells the bit of his life that it reminds him of, And then then he plays keep or cob. Cob being the Sheffield term for to throw something. So is he going to keep it or is he throw it? You've mentioned the Wrigley's. The first couple of things are the Wrigley's Extra chewing gum that's 20 years old, from the days when it used to come in stick form rather than sort of the pellets that it's in now. Plastic collar stiffeners. More importantly, his teenage notebook, which has lots of secrets. In fact, I'm going to go early for a clip, Steve.
Okay, right.
There's a bit in his teenage notebook. There is a bit where he calls it the Pulp master plan, where 15-year-old Jarvis maps out what it's almost like a political manifesto of what Pulp should be. And I think when we listen to this, you'll hear that I think he managed to stick to it even till today.
The Pulp Master Plan. The group shall work its way into the public eye by producing fairly conventional, yet slightly offbeat pop songs. After gaining a well-known and commercially successful status, the group can then begin to subvert and restructure both the music business and music itself. It's the old change the system from within approach. Pop success as Trojan horse. This is my younger self's way of reconciling pop ambitions with my newly found punk ideals. I'm quite impressed.
So I think, if you come as far as Spike Island, I think he hasn't managed to change the entirety of music. But other than that, I think he's ticked every box on his list there.
Yes.
In fact, Steve, just before we came on air, we don't normally like... What did we have the other day? We had a book that referred us to look at... We had to look at the PDF and look at graph number 14. I think it might have been one of the sleep books that we were reading. But I pointed out to you the PDF that came, the accompanying PDF that came with this book, which I didn't touch while I was listening to the book because I was on buses and carrying shopping and stuff. If you scroll down through that PDF, through past the Sexy Laughs Fantastic Dirty Joke book, which you mentioned before, and it's got a very saucy cover, I think you'll agree, you'll get to the Pulp Master Plan and how it was written in his teenage notebook. Are you laughing at the saucy pictures?
I've just got there, yeah.
And these are genuine. I mean, I think looking at the PDF just now has again cemented it. It's not a particularly. It's not something that I necessarily experienced at the same time, but I quite enjoyed having a little scroll through it.
Yeah.
What do you think of his handwriting?
Well, the way he's written the headline to the Pulp Master Plan, the word "the" and "pulp," well, mainly the word "the," he's almost carrying off a swastika with the H and the E.
Well, early 20th century political manifestos, that's fine, yeah.
Well, indeed, yes. Yeah, category A music, the music. Yeah, I mean, this is what... Wow, and then his doodling is really good. It's just like he's good to draw a fist with major record company written on it.
Oh yeah, and I think that's meant to be a hatchet or a meat cleaver. In fact, it's meant to be a meat cleaver. I'm not actually looking at it myself at the moment. So
I love this fact he's got a packet of Venus Perfect pencils.
Well, this is interesting because there are loads of things that come up, and that's not one that I recognised. But the brand names that come up include Rose's Lime Juice, which I agree with him is minging. I think he had a label from a Rose's Lime Juice. Do you remember Cusson's Imperial Leather Soap, Steve?
Well, we often talked to you at university during the time of Pulp, actually, was there, how good a band... I was discussing with my friend Will at the time how good a name for a band Imperial Leather was.
Yeah.
An aging rock band called Imperial Leather. There you go.
No, these were supposedly luxury soaps, weren't they, that sort of referred to the Imperial Leather.
Yeah. Did you have a bar of this soap ever?
Loads. Yeah, it was my dad's...
Did you have a magnet attached to it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember this? Where actually you could attach, it was at the
bottom.
Embedded.
It was a little round one embedded in the bottom.
And you would attach it to the corresponding thing on your sink. And it was just, I mean, I used to love going around. I couldn't wait to go with my grandparents to wash my hands because they had a magnetic soap.
It didn't smell very nice, though, did it?
Dreadful.
It wasn't a fragrant soap. It was sort of it smelled of the Empire, basically, I think. And then there's Marmite as well. Way down. And all of these things are quintessentially British, of questionable quality. But it's really weird the way he sort of hoovers up all of these brand names and the images they're meant to present. And you go, oh, yeah, I suppose that is part of what Pulp does, if you see what I mean. And as part of that, so he says at one point, the aesthetic has to be achievable. So just come from punk. People didn't wear shiny suits on stage or what am I thinking of? What are they called? What do country and western singers wear, Steve? Rhinestones. That's what they wear.
Is that what it is? Right. Okay.
Rhinestones with shirts and tassels. Shirts with rhinestones and tassels. It's not about that. Pulp was about NHS glasses and a duffel coat. And quite soon we get to the first shirt he ever bought in a jumble sale. And he's basically saying that, you know, where other people are dressing in fancy, expensive clothes, he really likes a jumble sale.
Yeah.
Normal shops now seem boring in comparison to jumble sales. Everything just hanging there meekly on a clothes rail. You didn't have to fight a gang of old women to get what you wanted. Pretty tame. And where were the refreshments? Tea was available at a very reasonable price at a jumble sale. And homemade cake. It was a scene. A complete day out. For £1 or so.
And kind of when you look at that in the context of listening to a Pulp song, again, it's your thing about the comfort of what is now the past, isn't it? It's very English and very specific and very weird. But at the same time, I get all of those references.
Yeah, completely. And also, I've just found his picture of the Cousins Imperial leather soap, and I reckon that is a magnet. It's packing a magnet.
Is it?
It's been worn away. Yeah, I think the sort of if you have got the accompanying P, this is a bit niche, by the way. First of all, if you have recently downloaded the book Good Pop, Bad Pop by Jarvis Cocker, released quite a few years ago, or 2022, not too many years ago, go to the accompanying PDF. Then about, I think it's towards the end. There is the picture of the Cousins Imperial leather soap, and I think that's a magnet. Jarvis, you won't be listening. But
can I just say that this is great. So the PDF itself is quite shambolic. It's kind of in A4, and then at the beginning it says Jarvis Cocker, Good Pop, Bad Pop, an inventory designed by Julian House. Well, frankly, would you say that's designed, or I mean, maybe it's a really clever subversive statement against PowerPoint. But what they seem to have done is got an A4 Word document and stuck a photo on each page.
Yeah.
Would that be fair?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what's happening here. I wouldn't.
But I wouldn't necessarily want, if I'd done that, I wouldn't necessarily credit myself with the designers of it front and centre.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can think where some designs happened is that it might be the order of the photos.
No, that's the order in the book. I wasn't expecting the loft to have a yellow door.
That was nice. Nice entrance, by the way.
Yeah.
That's the sort of loft entrance I'd like. Let's face it, you look at that loft entrance he's got. I mean, basically, and we know what lofts are really like. It's an awkward ladder. If you've got a built-in ladder, usually it's just like a precarious ladder up against the rules. So you're chipping your paintwork before you even get up there. And then the blooming thing's jammed or it won't come up. The loft door won't happen. Then it's covered in loads of fiberglass. And it's just, I mean, it's not a pleasant experience. The last thing I would be doing if I went up to my loft would be to write an audiobook.
I loved it when my dad used to. So we had a loft it was a house built in the 1960s, and you had to get a stick to open up the hatch in the ceiling.
Oh, yes,
and then you'd
yeah.
turn the stick round the other way and push up against a death trap of a folding aluminium ladder that would come down at an angle. I was used to get really excited as a kid. My attic, of course, now that I'm doing slightly better in life, do you know what's in my attic?
I don't know if you can disclose what's in your attic.
Fucking Narnia.
Wow, that conjures up an image. I don't think that's what Lewis Carroll had in mind.
you just made the words fawn porn come into my head.
Well,
Next slide.
Link. No, there's a link in the show notes.
I wanted to have the top half of a muscular man and the bottom half of a goat.
Okay, right, yes. Enough. Okay, right, so...
I went out with a girl like that
the
once.
audiobook. What do you think about the audiobook production?
I'm not going to bother, Steve. I'll let you do it. What do you think of the audiobook production?
I love the opening, like the opening that you can hear the rummaging around and trying to access the loft and all the rest of it, and it was just the sounds of the objects he was picking up and examining. It was just like it was the rustle of the paper.
It's not gonna win any Oscars for sound design, but at least he made some sort of effort.
I completely did. I really like. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Jarvis Cocker actually did do this and recorded the sounds. It wouldn't surprise me, because I will finish with a flourish once we finish this this little section towards the end of the book. He does do his own stuff, and I really like that. He just sort of has a crack at things, and he did that with his last single as well.
Yeah, does all his own stunts. Yeah,
does all his own.
I always
stunts,
find it difficult when people record their own footsteps, because footsteps should either get louder or quieter or go from left to right, and the problem is. With that, it's irrelevant. It's my problem.
You're clearly channeling Dirk Maggs here already. Yeah.
Can I bring the honourable gentleman? Normally, I've stuffed this up, haven't I? I'm going to play us a slightly longer clip from this book that refers to the tingle, which is the feeling you get when you hear, or the feeling Jarvis gets when he hears a piece of music that he likes, a new piece of music. And funnily enough, the one he mentioned is the song that my dad and I used to consider the worst song in the universe, which is Where Do You Go To, My Lovely by Peter Sarstedt. Oh, yes, it was. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. Shut your face. We used to sing along to it with our own words. But this is how Jarvis describes how he felt about hearing a new piece of exciting music, and then how that transferred to his artistic endeavours.
And you sip your Napoleon brandy, but you never get your lips wet. No, you don't.
And how did you sip Napoleon brandy without getting your lips wet? But despite the fact that I had no real idea what all these things Peter Sarstedt was singing about were, I did understand something very important about his song. It gave me the tingle. The tingle is fundamental to my creative story. The tingle is what led to me writing my own songs. People have different ways of referring to this feeling. Some say chills. That makes me think of Grease. Other people say goosebumps. I associate that more with being scared shitless. But it all means the same thing. You're having a physical reaction to music. For me, it's a tingling sensation around the top of my shoulders and the back of my neck. I don't experience the tingle in any other art form, or rather, it may happen occasionally. With music, it happens a lot. In fact, it's what I'm searching for when I listen to a new piece of music, because it's a very pleasant feeling to have. I liked experiencing this mysterious feeling. As a child, I wanted to feel it more often. Eventually, it made me want to try and make it happen to other people.
It just sums it up, really, doesn't it? It's what he's saying, the way he delivers it, the whole notion that it's achievable, and actually in parts of the book as well, he encourages us and say, I can do this creative process stuff. You know, you don't have to have all singing, all dancing, production equipment, you know, whatever. He just says, you're making creative decisions all the time. So am I. And he's made a 45-year career out of duffel coats and jumble sales. And he's just so gentle and low-key. As I say, I think older me is enjoying this book more than younger me would have done. But yeah, I thought it was a warm. I was just listening to see what was it that got me about that clip, and part of it is he just doesn't use long words and he delivers it slowly, and I enjoyed it. I didn't quite nod off, but it was like a I tell you what it is. It's a nice warm battered ass bath.
Oh yes. Oh no, now you're hitting.
None of your Radox nonsense. Battered ass bath. Battered ass bath bubbles. There you go.
Yeah, you really couldn't go wrong with those back in the 80s, could you?
Sit back with a plastic cup of Corona.
Yeah.
The soft drink, the red one or the green one, whichever's your favourite. Maybe a club.
Or a flake.
Flake, I think, is a bit that you're getting ideas above your station there, mate. To be honest.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah.
Penguin would work.
The trio.
Oh.
Oh yes.
No.
Trio. Do you remember them?
Although that's three things. That's a bit greedy.
Three things in one.
Yeah.
Very true.
I'm
Very true.
I'm fond of strawberry yogurts, and chewy sweets are fun. Yogo's two of my
Paces.
favourite Pacers.
We are just basically.
Oh God, we're like low rent Robert Elms.
This is like I'm Alan Partridge all over again, right?
Do you remember childhood? Wasn't childhood great? Shall we all talk about childhood? Bod? Do you remember Bod? Bod and Bob.
Yeah,
Farmer Barley Mow. Oh, that was television.
If I could invoke some Gary Crowley, it would be what are your memories of the great man, Bod?
Yeah.
Legend. Mr. Crowley, you are a legend.
Good. Well,
anyway,
we've gone far too niche and totally inaccessible. And Steve, handbrake turn. Get us the
here we go.
Stuff out of here.
We wrap up. Okay, so Good Pop, Bad Pop is by Jarvis Cocker, read by the same. It came out exactly almost a day, 6 days out as we record, 26th of May 2022, 6 hours and 39 minutes, so a fairly quick read, published by Jonathan Cape. Now then, before we go into next week's book, I have a couple of extra notes from the margin I've quickly added in there that I really wanted to sort of cover, because we should cover this. This is a headline thing we should have done at the start, basically, but we like to break all conventions by forgetting that and then remembering towards the end to quickly mention it.
Shambles!
So basically, and the big news is, because we've always discussed this, AI narrators, and it's finally happened. Let's face it, as soon as AI could make noises with mouths, Audible would have been going, right, how do we get AI narrators in to, undercut, real voice artists? What are your views on the AI narrators plan from Audible?
Yeah.
Should I get an AI to speak your words for you?
Do you know what? You probably could. I heard one today. So the makers of Fortnite are being sued by the American Actors Union because they have put an AI James Earl Jones as Darth Vader into one of their games. And the thing I heard it say was, I think pineapple on a pizza is an abomination. But it was quite good. It was quite convincing. We covered the Michael Parkinson stuff recently, didn't we? And it's getting good. So obviously we're very sorry to all of the poor, impoverished voice artists who will lose work, but also won't it make available to people like me who can't necessarily sit through reading a whole book? Won't it make a wider number of books available to me? Also, it's not going to work for a while, I think. There you go. That's what I think. What do you think, Steve?
Interestingly enough, I've been scouring the net for stories of the counterpoint, which is when are the unions going to start speaking up about this on behalf of the voice actors who narrate audiobooks. And actually just about 4 or 5 days ago, the Writers Guild of Great Britain has said it's going to be has responded to this. You can see on their website actually the response that they've written there. I've literally just pulled it up because I've not actually seen
the Writers Guild. But the Writers Guild, surely the writers would be vaguely in favour. I mean, recording an audiobook is an incredibly expensive process. And as we know, having spoken to authors who are forced to do it, what union rules for how do voice actors feel about actual authors reading books? They'd probably try and ban that too. For a little while, there will be a difference in quality. I think that the interesting thing that you and I always say about producing radio is you've done a good job if nobody notices you're there. But if you slip up and make one mistake, the one that always sticks with me, still angry about it, is somebody was a voice artist read out that the character was driving an American car, a Camaro, and as opposed to a Camaro. And you know what? Some people wouldn't even notice that. But surely AI is going to, for a little while, unless edited and checked and proofed by people who can actually do something about it and change it, it's going to make mistakes. As I said, the one that always slips people up is use of the expression "the one" in the middle of a sentence, and it can be so badly pronounced it's screeching. And sometimes I have to throw my phone across the room when somebody repeatedly offends. And I think AI is going to offend repeatedly unless you get somebody who has the technical experience, the audio production experience, and the literary experience to be able to make sure something is expressed right. And at the moment, that's going to cost more and take more time than just putting a voice artist in the studio, I think.
Yeah, you've got a point there. For anyone who hasn't heard about this and hasn't seen the news, so basically Audible in the coming months are launching 2 services. So firstly is a completely Audible managed end-to-end production. So they will create your audiobook using AI narrators. Mm-hmm. One area where I think this could have a potential is if you're self-published and you can't hire you can't have your book audio narrated at all because you can't afford it if you're self-publishing, and that they're offering that as a second service. The interesting thing that's coming soon that they're doing later on in the year is rolling out AI translation. Now, AI translation is really difficult. It's incredibly difficult, and it's not. You can get something translated by AI, but you need it reviewed and reviewed and reviewed to make sure that they're using exactly the right grammar, that you're getting it can alter a book's tone if it's translated in the wrong way into another language, and all sorts of things there. So that's going to be really interesting to see.
Let's lean on our own professional and personal experiences, Steve. So number one was the idea that Amazon will take your book and make it into an audiobook. What's your experience of Amazon's B2B services, Steve, and how they make things cheaper and easier to do?
I haven't had any experience of that.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Yeah, but not a good experience necessarily.
Well, there's the point, isn't it? And this is more complicated than what you were doing. And the second one is, AI translation's fine. I mean, it's going to be like a second tier, isn't it? They're going to be second-class audiobooks. I'm sure everybody's going to tell me, you say that now, but once we've got the nuclear-powered AI servers, then it will get better faster than you think. It won't. Yeah. I don't think it will. I don't think it's quite there. Again, I think you've just said it, and as someone who's a linguist and studied languages, and I know that in order to check a translation, you've got to do all the things we mentioned before: checking the pitch, the tone, how the cadence of individual sentences, and then you've got to have somebody who can sit there and match up and check that the translation is correct. And human beings argue about mistranslations of literary books. I think if they're going to do it, I want to pay 99p for an AI book as opposed to £7. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Well, it does sound like it. Yeah, I think you're right. It's I'll just read the response, if I may. Read a quote from the Writers Guild of Great Britain chair Simon Garriott, and he said that AI narration and the production of audiobooks means a worse product for the listeners. Despite improvements in artificial speech, it still sounds odd and jarring, especially at any length, which means we can't lose ourselves in the story being told, pretty much as we've been talking about here. AI narration and production of audiobooks is also bad for the creative industry. A good audiobook requires a skilled reader and a production team to bring out the nuance and the meaning, creating a direct connection with the listener. That skilled work is worth paying for. And AI narration and production is bad for the people who use it to produce audiobooks. They produce a worse product, don't develop their own skills, and serve only to add to the squeeze affecting the publishing world more generally. So pretty much, I think it's
oh, good. I don't look like a total dick then.
You've been backed by the WGGB there, mate.
Oh,
yes.
I've been waiting for that.
Everybody out. Everybody out.
I'm going to the podcast show this week. I'll see if I can find somebody from Audible to have a conversation with us.
Have a chat, yeah. Oh, glad you're going there. Yeah, have a nice time. I've got one more note for the margin, by the way, before I...
Hold on, let me check.
I've got a confession.
46 minutes? Go on, what's your confession?
I'll make it a very quick confession, but I'm going to show you this on camera.
Oh, hold on.
For the benefit of listeners.
You know I don't look at the camera for obvious reasons. Yeah, but there you go. What have you got? Oh, it's gone dark in your room.
Yeah, it's gone very dark, but I have been...
Show me again.
I have been...
It looks like a penguin. That's a heavy book. It's a heavy penguin paperback. Is it penguin? It's got the orange and cream colours of penguin.
Not quite.
What's it say?
But
okay.
So what it says? Well, basically, my confession is that I have been reading a print book. Not an audiobook.
Away with you.
Confession. So I went to a book launch.
Bring back
last night.
the birch.
As we record, I went to a book launch.
Traitorous scum.
Yeah, and it's playing into the nostalgia feel in a really niche way, by the way. But this is a book which is all about, and a very, very detailed account of the making of TV's first sci-fi classic, The Quatermass Experiment, by Toby Hadoke. And I went to the launch last night, and heard him speak about it's taken him 36 years to write. On and off, but it's really worth watching. It's absolutely stunning how they pulled this off in 1953 to have a spaceship crash into someone's house and then a big alien, all done in Alexandra Palace in 2 rooms, and it was done live. It was broadcast live. It's so really worth reading that if you want to get a print.
Higgins, can you bring me my sanitizer? I feel dirty.
Well, I did actually ask him if he's going to do an audiobook, so I said, maybe come on when that's
get the AI to do it, mate.
That's from 10 Acre Films, but yeah, so I recommend that. Anyway, that's the end of confession.
I think next week, are you on the wrong podcast?
I think I am.
I think you've stepped out of lane there, mate.
Yeah, we should do a regular book podcast. Like the world needs more of those. Next week is a blank line.
It is a blank line. So here's the news. And I have been on the Audible app, and it's interesting. It's not just new titles that come out that change the way we experience audiobooks. And I have been in the Audible Originals section, and it has made it much easier to find high-quality dramas recorded, quite a few of them in the States, but in many fictional genres in particular. And what I'm going to do is run through that experience and also have a look about how that changes. But as you and I know from trying to promote this podcast, the internet is a difficult place because it's a visual medium to promote audio products. So they've shuffled something around. I guess that might be because their monopoly might be crumbling a little bit as Spotify, etc., move into the audiobook space. But there's some really good stuff. And I think the week after that, Steve, you'll be glad to hear Adam Buxton's got a new book out.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I'll have a go on that.
So I think, why don't you spend 2 weeks on that, and I'll burble on next week about Audible dramas, and we'll play lots of clips of things happening.
Well, sounds good to me. Sounds good. Okay, well, if you've been listening to Good Pop, Bad Pop by Jarvis Cocker, Let us know what you thought. The hashtag is Audiobook Club. We are on Instagram and Blue Sky. At Audiobook Show is the name. You can subscribe. Please do subscribe to our podcast. Please, for the love of God, subscribe to our podcast. Don't want to come across as too desperate, because we never ever do that. We've been going for 5 years, never sort of really promoted the show. So, yes, we're available on most outlets and some bad ones as well. So you can pretty much get us out of the bin outside the newsagents, pretty much. That is Audiobook Club for this week. Matt, it's been a pleasure as ever.
Lovely to see you, Steve.
How should we say goodbye this week?
Okay, listen, I'm going to try and say goodbye into a microphone. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, goodbye, everybody. Go on.
Not doing it, can't do it.
Yeah, ta-da.
Audiobook Club with Steve Phillips and Matthew Layton.